Hello friends, welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Sana, Mrs. Perfectly Imperfect Keto, where being perfect is overrated and being imperfect is appreciated. Today is Tuesday, it is April 18th, and I'm just gonna get right into what I'm preparing for my 1 meal a day dinner. So we actually have, and this is not any of my portion because as you all can see from my meals, I definitely eat my fair share of my meats. But my family, they ate one steak out of the 4 that I had air fried yesterday of the New York strip steaks. And because I also made those Scotch eggs, they enjoyed the Scotch eggs as well. So we actually ended up having remaining 2 of the New York strip steaks. So what I did was, I simply just cut them up. So as you can see, I air fry them to about a medium internal temperature. So simply I just cut them up. So as you can see, they are all chopped up into cubes or slices. And I'm going to do something very, very simple. I'm going to just saute the steak with some eggs. So as you can see here, I have lots and lots of eggs. I'm just going to do a steak and egg scramble. I'm going to go ahead and add some salt on it. And I'm making such a big portion because this is not only going to be for me, but it's going to be for the family as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I do have from the chicken wings that I basically fried in the beef tallow that I showed you all, that beef wagyu. So this is it right here. So you can see how fatty and rich that is. I'm going to use this basically as my butter substitute. So we'll go ahead and add some of that in here. And that'll simply be our greasing agent. I'm just gonna wait for this to get a little bit hot here, since we simply just added that tallow in. And that is basically going to be it for pretty much like the main meal that I'm going to have, is simply just the steak scrambled up with some eggs. And I do also have, let me show you all, the red Argentinian shrimp that I get from Sam's Club. So I've been a favorite of this shrimp for a really long time. So as you can see there, I've been a fan of this shrimp for a really long time, as I'm saying, because the flavor is so much like lobster to me. So it basically for me is like a poor man's lobster, because the bag, let me show it to you all. If you're not familiar with that previous video of mine, so this is how the bag looks at Sam's Club. So it is their Members Mark brand for the wild-caught Argentine Red Shrimp. Here it definitely has that extra large sizing. And down here, as you can see, it is a 2-pound bag. So this comes out to being $19.98 at Sam's Club. So for 2 pounds, it is definitely a lot more affordable than when it comes to getting some lobster tails or even just some lobster meat off of the shell. It is definitely a lot more affordable, but the taste of it is so comparable, especially when you have it with some butter. Oh my goodness, it is so much reminiscent to the taste and similar to the taste of having lobster. So if you've never tried red Argentinian shrimp, definitely give them a try. I can definitely tell you, my friends Heath and Shelly over at Hungry Heath channel, they are also really big fans, and anyone anyone that follows their group and their channel, they definitely inspire them to try these shrimp. That is how good they are. So even though I did know about them prior to being a subscriber of theirs, but I was so happy that they were promoting them because it's such a great value for the taste and the quality that you are getting. So definitely give it a try if you've not, because as you can see, there is another channel out there that is raving about these shrimp, and any of their viewers that have reported back trying it, they are hooked on it as well. So when I tell you they are good, they definitely have the reviews of how good that they are. So I'm just gonna go ahead and continue to simply just saute this steak. It is not gonna take much to really saute it because these are already air fried, but we want to make sure that it's warm enough. That way, once we go ahead and add our eggs in, we have the hot meat that we're working with, and that would help our eggs to scramble a lot more better and a lot easier. Okay, so it definitely is now hot enough because it is sizzling. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just start cracking these eggs in here. But that is my plan. I'm gonna simply go ahead and scramble this. I'm gonna salt it just a little bit more. And once we get done with this, I'm gonna go in with those red Argentine shrimp that I'm gonna have on the side. You can definitely add it all together as far as simply cooking the shrimp first because they are raw, then adding the steak, especially if you're working with leftover steak, and then go ahead and crack your eggs in. The reason why I'm going to do them separate is because our oldest son, he is actually allergic to any shellfish like shrimp and lobster and crab. So I do it separate because he cannot have shrimp. So that is why we do the separation, but it would definitely be really great combined and sauteed together because it almost is going to be like the way they kind of do Chinese food when they kind of mix up all the proteins together in a wok. It would be very similar like that if you basically just scrambled it all together. All right, so I believe I have all of the eggs cracked. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just give this a little help. That way the eggs can definitely scramble with the steak. But it definitely does not take long for this to come together. And it is a really great, easy option. So if you basically had a steak dinner and you meal prepped and you had a whole bunch of steaks that you simply cooked and you've been basically having those steak dinners every single day and you're getting tired of having either steak or having simply just like eggs on the side of the steak, you can definitely switch it up and do this egg scramble. Or what you can do, especially, this will work either way. If you are doing dairy-free carnivore or if you're doing dairy carnivore, what you could do is you can simply cut up all of your steak and put it in a casserole, an oven-safe casserole dish, and simply just whip up your eggs, throw in your proteins, put them in that casserole dish, and you can simply bake it If you are incorporating cheese, you can definitely add cheese and mix up the cheese. That way throughout the whole entire casserole, you have that cheesy goodness. But you can actually bake and make almost like an egg bake out of it and do like whatever proteins you chose, but it will truly be an egg casserole bake is what you can simply do. So instead of sauteing it like this in the pan, that is definitely an option. And that is also something, it would heat up really well. So for those of you that need kind of something to take to work with you for lunch, or even if you work at home and you want to benefit by stretching out that lunch break you get, you know, even when it comes to those lunch breaks, even 30 minutes flies by before you know it. But you can definitely do a really big casserole, even if it was like a 9x13 casserole pan, and make a big batch. And you can simply just cut them up into squares and have it already ready for you in your refrigerator. So you can simply take out a couple of those squares and heat it up inside your microwave, or if you do not prefer the microwave, you can definitely put that on some parchment paper in your air fryer, and you could heat it up in your air fryer without any problems at all, because you're just simply talking about some egg, possibly if you're going to use cheese, and simply just whatever proteins you chose. So that would heat up very well in about 3 to 4 minutes in your air fryer. But it's definitely going to save a lot of time with that 3 to 4 minutes in comparison to what it would have took if you had to spend the time to make a whole entire lunch for yourself. So that is just some ideas. And of course, you can always season that casserole any which way that you want. All right, so this is quickly coming together here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just give it a little bit more time to come together. And as soon as I have this completed, I am gonna go ahead and update you all to show you all what that looks like. But I'm gonna go ahead and just give it a little bit more time, and you'll see once I get finished with it. All right, my friends, it just got done. So let me go ahead and show you all what it looks like. All right, so this is how it came together. So as you can see, it comes out so delicious, and for it being so simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dump it in the same exact foil that I had it in, and that way we can simply use the same pan for our red Argentinian shrimp. I definitely don't want to have to use another pan and have to wash and do dishes for anything else when we can use this for our shrimp. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add some more tallow, because of course all that tallow that we added previously before for our steak scramble, that is gone and consumed and used up by that scramble. All right, so that should be enough. I'm going to give a little bit of time for this to heat up. And as far as when it comes to the seasoning, I'm going to just go in very simple with some seasoning. As you all know, I primarily keep everything clean. I do not, every single day, I do not use seasonings. Most of the days I'm using just salt, as you can see. But on occasion, I definitely want to keep the reintroduction of the seasonings I've already started to incorporate, that I've noticed they have not hindered me. So I'm gonna go in for the shrimp with just simply just some garlic powder. This is garlic only. That is all that's in the ingredients. And I'm just gonna go in with my Redmond salt. That'll be my seasoning. So just those two seasonings is what I'm going to go in with. All right, I'm just waiting for this to just get really hot because of course when it comes to those shrimp, they are going to cook very, very quickly. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and stick one of the tails in. That way we can kind of test out here to see if we have our tallow hot enough. Yes, it is hot. So I'm going to go ahead and just add them in here. And once I get them all in, I will go ahead and I will add some of the garlic powder. I definitely hold off on adding the salt because the salt is going to pull a lot of moisture out from these shrimp, and I do not want these shrimp to shrivel up, not only prematurely, but I don't want them to basically shrink up more than they naturally are supposed to with the heat. So I always go in with the salt last. That way that salt is not forcing all our moisture and all our juiciness out of our shrimp. So we definitely want to do our salting after these shrimp are cooked. So we'll go in with the garlic. So I'm going to go ahead and just add some garlic powder on the first side over here, the top side. And we'll go ahead and we'll just give it a stir. And on my previous video, when I had cooked these red Argentinian shrimp, I had mentioned that it is a little bit tricky with these compared to your, for example, like your Gulf Coast shrimp, because those are gray and they have gray lining to them, and they will turn like a reddish orange color simply once they are cooked. But with these, it's already red. So what you're going to look for is a more deeper brightness of red. So that is how you're going to know that they are cooked. And that garlic is smelling really, really good. When it comes to proteins like chicken and seafood and also lamb, butter and garlic, if you just stick with those two and you do not have any issues with garlic and also incorporating butter in your carnivore lifestyle, when I tell you with those proteins, they will keep variety for you, and they are affordable because even a lot of times you can find lamb on sale for a reasonable price. You just have to know where to go and shop for it. All right, there is just one big one here that is taking just a little bit longer to cook, so we're just going to give it a little bit of time. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you all what this looks like. But it comes together, as you can see, very, very quickly. All right, so it is done. So let me go ahead and show you all what this looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and put a glove on so I can definitely handle this pan safely. But this is what these shrimp look like. So if you can see, you see that beautiful, beautiful garlic tallow, as well as the beautiful shrimp. So this is what I'm going to go in with my 1 meal a day dinner. So next, I'm going to show you all my plating up. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to go ahead and get these shrimp plated up. All right, friends, so I have my food plated up. So as you can see, I have that New York strip steak that was leftovers. and I simply just scrambled it in the beef tallow with some egg, salted it again, and on the side in more beef tallow, we went ahead and sauteed our red Argentinian shrimp with some garlic powder, and I simply just finished it off with some salt. That way we can make sure to avoid any moisture being pulled out and getting them too shrunk up. So I'm going to go ahead and enjoy this while it's still hot. I want to thank you all for joining me on this Tuesday. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you all. Take care, friends.